and pray for the well-being of the whole humanity. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Stavakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine Stavakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine Avadara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoramamritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In the last 2-3 classes, I have been discussing the topic, learning is essential. We must have the aptitude of learning. Then it must be followed by strong determination. Learning means repeatedly doing, repeated performance of thinking or acting, doing repeatedly, making effort again and again makes one learn properly. Sri Ramakrishna himself has emphasized this point in the Gospel. Sri Ramakrishna himself declares, as long as I live, so long do I learn. So Sri Ramakrishna's life itself is before us to learn from his way of life and from his teachings, how everything is most valuable. And here is the Master who has given everything for others so that they can learn and experience the bliss of God. That's very important. Unless you constantly make an effort, the mind slips down very fast, because the gravity of the non-spiritual mind is so great. Slightest provocation slips you down to the bottom level. Again, it will be very difficult to rise. How much effort you will have to make to rise again. So, rising and falling continue till you become stabilized in our pursuit. That means, in order to learn properly, you must be alert. You must be constantly in touch with men of spirituality. Vedanta must be practiced in everyday life, in every moment. Then only you would be able to get over the illusion of unreality. The illusion, the unreal appearing as real, vanishes. So, In order to stabilize your spiritual aspiration and your spiritual life, you will have to come in association with men of spirituality, men of experience. Here we have got Sri Ramakrishna. All his teachings are well defined, clarified, very impressive and very instructive and very practical. So, we should be very, very sincere in the spiritual path. We all belong to God's household. Even if a person denies God, he is also the child of God. He also belongs to God. For some reason, his mind has been clouded by ignorance. Well, when the light of knowledge dawns, the darkness of ignorance simply vanishes. So the dawning of light of knowledge is done by the supreme grace of the Guru. So, in spiritual practice, everything about spirituality is very important and must be practiced with all attention and care. So, whether we are cognizant of the fact or not, we all belong to God's household. So this indeed is a great privilege to act in becoming with that distinction, to deserve that status. These make life fruitful. Without thinking spiritual dimension, your life loses its meaning. Though you are passing through lives, in a way you are passing from ignorance to more ignorance to still more ignorance. You are becoming more and more ignorant in coming through various lives. Unless you aspire for spiritual life, you cannot get out of the darkness of ignorance. So, you have that spiritual status. So to become aware of your status is first important factor that you should learn from Sri Ramakrishna's life. In the beginning itself, Sri Ramakrishna has expressed the meaning of life is realized only when you experience the bliss of God. In order to realize the reality, this privilege of being born as human being is provided. So, we are all linked with God in one way or other. To be totally ignorant of this fact or indifferent to our link with God is to miss all felicity in life. So, in the range of one's relationship with God, there are many stages and degrees, various types of people are there. There are some who are so close to God that they are identical with Him. They won't feel any separation from God. Sri Ramakrishna himself, if you study his life, you find Sri Ramakrishna himself telling many times that he is none other than Divine Mother Kali. Whenever he would speak, whenever he would show grace to devotees, he would say, Mother wills, it will happen. Mother means he himself is the mother. He is identifying with Divine Mother Kali 100%. So, he doesn't want to possess even the slightest trace of ego. He never liked to use the word I. He would always say, Mother. There are many others who dare not approach God too near, but delight in keeping away from Him from a distance. A few people see in God a companion. Others see in Him a master and Lord and regard themselves as His dutiful servants. It's called the attitude of dasya, that is, serving attitude. Love to serve. Every mode of relationship with the Lord, He is very blessed and sacred and causes supreme satisfaction. If you take the example of Hanuman, the great character in the story of Srimad Ramachandra, what stupendous devotion to Rama he had. As a result, unceasing service to him. He would feel tremendous satisfaction and fulfillment in just doing the service of Rama. Hanuman never yearned to change over from this servant attitude to any better status. He was very firmly convinced that that status itself is best for him. And he would not keep on changing from one mode to another mode. Now all his energy, the whole system is geared up in that particular mode of serving Sri Ramachandra, and he did that and he got the highest experience of bliss. Sri Ramachandra embraced him, immensely pleased with his service, and that embrace gave Hanuman the bliss of the realization of Supreme Brahman. So, that's why we see Swami Vivekananda. The principal message that he gave, Vedanta, and then how to get into the experience of Vedanta by serving humanity. Serving humanity. So, it has got tremendous significance. If you have to have that mode of service, you must be totally dedicated and humble, free from ego trace, free from the trace of ego. The moment the ego raises its ugly head, you must immediately crush it mercilessly. So, service, the path of service, I should say, Seva Yoga, by service you can reach God. Hanuman got the experience by serving Sri Ramchandra. So, serve him. Actually, when you are engaging in worship, it is but service only. People don't understand the significance of worship and they talk all sorts of things. Oh, what is the use of ringing the bell? What is the use of sitting on the mat? What is the use of doing this? What is the use of that? So what? You don't want to do anything? Keep simply talking and talking? It has got its value. You must know the value of it, then you must do it. You must know the value of doing exercise, then you must do it. Then you are inspired to do it, because you know by doing the exercise all your organs become active and they will be healthy. If you are well convinced of that fact, you won't lose any time. You are bent upon doing exercise. Same way, worship of God means you are totally concentrating on God. You are actually communicating with God. You are actually communicating with God. What is meditation? You are linking with God. Thinking of Him means you are linking and you are establishing that link. There were two persons who were very close to Sri Ramakrishna. One was Mathurnath, the proprietor of the Kali temple. The other one, Hriday, who was attending upon Sri Ramakrishna. Mathur Babu loved Sri Ramakrishna very much. He looked after him with tremendous care and tremendous affection. He knew the divine majesty of the Master and adored him as his very God. He would be at peace whenever he would be with Sri Ramakrishna. He would be vibrating with joy. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna was so graceful, he gave him the vision that Sri Ramakrishna was none other than Lord Shiva, none other than the Divine Mother Parvati, Shiva and Kali. Both are one and the same, and he showed in his personality that he was Shiva as well as Kali. Seeing that, Mathur Babu was stunned. Once, at his request, the Master gave Mathur Babu a taste of higher spiritual rapture. But Mathur found himself difficult to contain it and asked the Master to be restored to normalcy. He was fully aware of the wonderful powers of Sri Ramakrishna, and he was ever ready to provide the Master's needs and make his life easy and comfortable. In fact, Mathur Babu was, as it were, the first of the Master's supplies of provisions as arranged by the Divine Mother. And Mathur Babu was transformed into spiritual life by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. Madhur Babu could be transformed because by coming in contact with Sri Ramakrishna, he learnt the meaning of spirituality. He understood the importance of spiritual life. And so he became spiritual by constantly living in company with Sri Ramakrishna. There is another person, Hriday. He was a personal attendant of Sri Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna was engaged in performing various austerities in quest of God, once in a passing mood of dispassion, Hriday implored the Master to confer on him rare spiritual experience. Sri Ramakrishna told him that his destined role was to serve him, and that alone would bring fulfillment to him. That's a very important teaching. Everybody is destined to play one's own role. But Hriday would not listen to the advice. Anyway, Sri Ramakrishna was the embodiment of kindness and compassion and mercy. In his kindness, Sri Ramakrishna said, "Let the mother's will be done. Let the mother's will be done." Soon, just by the utterance of Sri Ramakrishna, Hriday did have visions, and he entered into divine states of absorption. For the first time he is experiencing all this. Madhur Babu saw him in that condition and asked the Master, "What's the matter with Hriday? He is behaving in a different way." Sri Ramakrishna told him that Hriday was really experiencing those visions. He is not feigning. Hriday asked him, Sri Ramakrishna, for a little vision, and so he is having it. Madhur Babu was a man of much common sense and practical wisdom, and he remarked, "Father, it's all your play. It is you who have brought about this state on Hriday. So please calm him again. Both of us," Madhur Babu was telling Sri Ramakrishna, "both of us should be with you like Nandi and Bringi, and we should serve you. Why should these abnormalities be with us? We have to perform our assignment properly." Nandi and Bringi, these two names are mentioned. They are two attendants of Lord Shiva. They are always engaged in Shiva's, in serving Shiva. As a matter of fact, Hriday had soon to fall back from his incursions into the mystic. Madhur's allusion to the part allotted to Nandi and Bringi in Shiva's household and to their hearty dedication to the work set for them and the consequent blessedness that is their lot provides much food for thought for spiritual aspirants. Swami Vivekananda, who became world famous, who was honored as prophet, a great spiritual leader, the founder and life force of Ramakrishna Mutt that he was, he once declared, if my Guru Bhais tell me now that I have to pass the rest of my life in cleansing the drain of the mutt, know for certain that I shall obey that order without a word of protest. That is Vivekananda. He knew the tremendous benefit of doing service. And every service becomes sanctified if you link yourself with God. And so, very important point is that we should not lose link. We should be constantly in touch with men who practice spirituality. Once Subodhanand, another disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, his previous name was Subodh. He came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna liked him very much. He found him totally guileless, pure-hearted, simple. So Sri Ramakrishna just gave all spiritual instructions to him. And Subodhanand, because of his purity of heart, because of his simplicity, immediately he recognized that Sri Ramakrishna was the Supreme Guru. To surrender to him is the way he would get everything that is needed. Once Sri Ramakrishna called him and told, look, practice meditation. Practice. Then Subodhananda said, Sir, I can't do that. You have to do it for me. You have that power. By your grace only I should be able to do some meditation. Otherwise, I can't do it at all. And saving grace of the Master, and said, well, come and sit before me, in front of me. And Sri Ramakrishna literally led him in meditation. He showed him. He made him learn the art of meditation. Everything has got an art. It should be done in a proper way, with a proper spirit. You must create the mood. Then you will be able to do. Then one day he called him and told, look, you know Master Mahashay, he is your neighbor. Go and talk to him now and then. Master Mahashay was a great household disciple. I should say chief among the household disciples, who recorded the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, which we are having now as gospel. A very great devotee, most humble, most devoted and dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna told him to meet Master Mahashaya now and then, Subodh said, "Well, sir, why should I have to go him? He is, after all, he is a householder, he is a family man. He has not renounced his kith and kin, his family ties, he is bound. What is there for me to learn from him?" Sri Ramakrishna said, "Look, whatever Master Mahashaya tells you, it's all told by me. He talks of me only. You go and test it. He talks nothing but me." And it was true. Subhadananda went and talked. He was greatly influenced by the personality of Master Mahashaya. So Sri Ramakrishna would always direct the disciples minutely to learn properly and become stabilized in spiritual life. Page 686. Master Mahashaya said to the Master, smiling, that is the nature of the calculating mind, because there was a story of Bhavani and Prafulla, that dialogue, referring to that incident. Master Mahashaya was remarking, that's the nature of the calculating mind. Master said, yes, that's the nature of the calculating mind, that is the way the worldly man thinks, but he who seeks God plunges headlong. He doesn't calculate about how much or how little he needs for the protection of his body. Next, Bhavani asked Prafulla, how will you offer all this money to Sri Krishna? Prafulla said, why? Sri Krishna dwells in all beings. I shall distribute the money among them. Bhavani answered, good. Quoting from the Gita, Bhavani said, he who sees me in all things and all things in me never becomes separated from me, nor do I become separated from him. That yogi who, established in unity, worships me, dwelling in all beings, abides in me, whatever his mode of life. O Arjun, that yogi is regarded as the highest, who judges the pleasure and pain of all beings by the same standard that he applies to himself. Master said, these are the characteristics of the highest bhakta. Again read from the book. A man must work hard if he wants to help all beings with charity. Hence it is necessary for him to make a little display of clothes, of pomp and luxury. Therefore Bhavani said, a little shopkeeping is necessary. Master said sharply, a little shopkeeping is necessary? One speaks as one thinks. If a man thinks of worldly things day and night and deals with people hypocritically, then his words are colored by his thoughts. If one eats radish, one belches radish. Instead of talking about shopkeeping, he should rather have said, a man should act as if he were the doer, knowing very well that he is really not the doer. The other day a man was singing here. The song contained words like profit and loss. I stopped him. If one contemplates a particular subject day and night, one cannot talk of anything else. The reading continued. The author was describing the realization of God. Prafulla had become divine. Prafulla had become Devi Chaudhrani. It was the month of Vaishak. Devi was seated on the roof of her houseboat talking with Diva and another woman companion. The moon was up. The boat had cast anchor in the Ganges. The conversation turned to the question of whether one could see God. Devi said, as the aroma of a flower is directly perceived by the nose, so God is directly perceived by the mind. At this point, the master interrupted and said, yes, God is directly perceived by the mind, but not by this ordinary mind. It is a pure mind that perceives God, and at that time this ordinary mind does not function. A mind that has the slightest trace of attachment to the world cannot be called pure. When all the impurities of the mind are removed, you may call that mind or pure Atman. Master Maharaj said. The author says a little later that God cannot easily be perceived by the mind. He says that one needs a telescope to have that direct vision. Yoga is the telescope. Yoga, as it is described in the Gita, is of three kinds, jnana, bhakti and karma. One is able to see God through this telescope of yoga. Master said, that's very good. These are the words of the Gita. Yam said, at last Devi Chaudhrani met her husband. She showed him great devotion and said to him, you are my God. I wanted to learn the worship of another God, but I did not succeed. You have taken the place of all gods. Master Maharaj said smilingly, I did not succeed. This is the dharma of a woman totally devoted to her husband. That is also a path. The reading was over. The master was smiling. The devotees looked on him, eagerly waiting to hear what he would say. Master said to the devotees smilingly, this is not so bad. It is called the dharma of chastity, the single-minded devotion of a wife to her husband. If God can be worshipped through an image, why shouldn't it be possible to worship Him through a living person? It is God Himself who sports in the world as men. Oh, what a state I passed through. I passed some days absorbed in Shiva and Durga, some days absorbed in Radha and Krishna, and some days absorbed in Sita and Rama. Assuming Radha's attitude, I would cry for Krishna, and assuming Sita's attitude, I would cry for Rama. But Leela is by no means the last word. Passing through all these states, I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, in these states there is separation. Give me a state where there is no separation. Then I remained for some time absorbed in the indivisible Satchidananda. I removed the pictures of gods and goddesses from my room. I began to perceive God in all beings. Formal worship dropped away. You see that before. I used to go there to pluck its leaves. Formal worship was dropped away. You see that bell tree? I used to go there to pluck its leaves. One day, as I plucked a leaf, a bit of the bark came off. I found the tree full of consciousness. I felt grieved because I had hurt the tree. One day I tried to pluck some durva grass, but I found I couldn't do it very well. Then I forced myself to pluck it. I can't cut a lemon. The other day I managed to cut one only with great difficulty. I chanted the name of Kali and cut the fruit as they slaughter an animal before the goddess. One day I was about to gather some flowers. They were everywhere on the trees. At once I had a vision of Virat. It appeared that his worship was just over. The flowers looked like a bouquet placed on the head of the deity. I could not pluck them. Let us stop here. It depends upon the concentration. If the mind is concentrated properly, then it will help. If the mind is distracted, then meditation is difficult. So what we propose is that give attention to quality meditation. Quality. Start with 10 minutes meditation, 15 minutes meditation. And it should be, you must think yourself, 15 minutes, just this 15 minutes, let me fully concentrate and keep the mind in God. And if you are able to do that for certain weeks, then your mind becomes stabilized, and 15 minutes will just pass off like 15 seconds. You feel joy. And then slowly you have to increase it to half an hour. So like that you have to build up. As I said in my talk, you must have the aptitude. You must have that mood, that is, whatever I should do it properly. Whether I am doing meditation, whether I am doing service, whether I am reading, do it properly, not in a haphazard way. That means to the best of my capacity, according to my way of perfection. It is true, it is not possible for everybody to do perfectly. But that's what I am telling. Each one according to one's own way of perfection, he can perform the work properly. By doing the things properly, one gets purity of heart, and one gets inspiration, and one is inspired to do more and more such spiritual activities. So, the technique is spiritualize everything. Don't think you are worldly minded and you are in bondage and you are being bothered, you are being troubled. Don't think like that anymore. Think that you are the child of God, you belong to God, and God is taking care of everything. You must have tremendous faith and belief in that fact, and then keep doing things positively, consciously. Whatever you do, you are peaceful, you are really joyful. And tremendously joyful is tremendously peaceful. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or revenue. The playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for Thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is Thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou, who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.